Good afternoon, folks. My name is Kurt Hitzemann, County Court Judge in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who committed the crime. Of course, as you stand before me this afternoon, I presume that you're innocent of these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the state attorney's office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release today, that is your bail or bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date is. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this afternoon. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you haven't had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts that surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear or affirm, tell truth, whole truth, none but the truth. Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward. Megan Borchers. Afternoon. There you go. Afternoon, Megan. What's your date of birth?
2/12/86.
All right, Megan, I've got 6 charges today. I've got 1 count of possession of methamphetamine, 2 counts of controlled substance, 1 count of marijuana, 1 count of paraphernalia, and 1 count of driving on a suspended license. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, do you wish to represent yourself? You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State what can you tell me?
An adjudication for paraphernalia in 2019. A adjudication for a petty theft, felony petty theft in Hernando County in 2018. A grand theft adjudication in 2018. Adjudication for a petty theft in 2018. Adjudication for a petty theft in 2013. Adjudication withheld on 11 for a petty theft. Adjudication in 08 for no motor vehicle registration. Adjudication 08 for a type registration license plate not assigned. And no other convictions, Your Honor.
Right. Megan, I've got an address for you on Elwood Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
About 5-7 years.
Okay. You have a job these days?
No, sir. I take care of my kids.
Okay. Yeah, that's the kids. All right, Megan, I'm going to set the bond at $1,000 on each count. That's a total of $6,000. You'll be back in court on September 11th. Very important that you contact the public defender's office when you get out, all right?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Melody Rodriguez. Afternoon, Melody. What's your date of birth?
12/27/76.
Melody, you're hearing a warrant signed by Judge Toner. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You can hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Yes, sir. But may I also ask today if I can possibly get ROR? I just came out of the hospital on Friday, and they let me out the hospital because I was scheduled to get surgery this week. But they gave me time to get my job, my program, and my 3 younger children aside. And when I went to probation Monday, they violated me, so I didn't get to get my surgery.
Okay.
And I was supposed to.
Okay, and Melody, the answer is that I can't do that. The bond on the warrant is no bond. I appointed the public defender. You'll be back in front of Judge Toner on September 11th. He's the only one that can change that bond for you. Public defender will come see you before then, and we'll talk to you about what the likelihood is of you getting a bond, okay?
Is it possible that I can see somebody, sir, before that? I don't want to die in this jail, and I know the situation right now.
Nobody wants you to die in the jail. Somebody from the PD's office is going to come see you right away. Thank you. James Aponte. Go to Jim, date of birth.
11/11/79.
I have 2 warrants for you today. They were both signed by Judge Merritt. In each case, he found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to those charges, you can represent yourself. You can hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I like public defender, sir.
I'm going to appoint the public defender. The bond on those is no bond on each. Can't change that. I'm going to change your date. I'll send you back to see Judge Merritt on September 3rd. They told you the 11th. It'll be the 3rd. And the public defender will come see you before you go to court, okay?
Yes, I have when I was booked in on a violation. I'm not quite sure how I'm getting 2 more violations if everything was ranked concurrent.
Well, they're just separate case numbers.
Okay,
So,
is there
apparently, what I can see is that you're on probation in these 2 cases, and I have violation of probation warrants on these 2 cases, which are, if it matters to you, 18 CF 1012 and 18 CF 1636.
Okay, so I have a court date on the 28th of this month for the other violation. Is there any way I can get that court date as well?
They may do that. I'm going to leave these on the 3rd for right now. The people in the state attorney's office may try to get everything synced up for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Kareen Bates. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
9/22/91.
All right, so you're here on a warrant, looks like a violation of probation warrant out of the state of Louisiana. Your options this afternoon are this. You can request an extradition hearing if you wish. The point of an extradition hearing would be to determine if you're the right person and if the state of Louisiana has a valid warrant for you. That process can take 60 days or so. While that's happening, you would just stay in the jail without bond. If you wish, you can waive your right to that hearing today. If you waive your right to that hearing, the state of Louisiana would be notified immediately and told that they have 15 days to come and get you. If they had not picked you up in 15 days, they would bring you back to see me, and I'd find out whether there's planning to come or not. So I need to know if you want me to try and set you up an extradition hearing, or if you'd like to put the state of Louisiana on the clock right now.
Yeah, I can put them on the clock right now because I'm really ready to go back to Louisiana. Because I was already supposed to get my ticket today.
Okay, so you want to waive, and we'll get Louisiana here as quick as possible, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll have a form for you to sign there. So, Mr. Bates, if you're still here in 15 days, they're going to bring you back to see me, and I'll find out what the problem is, all right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. James Elder. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
9/24/1980.
All right. James got 2 issues today. The first is a warrant signed by Judge Rupi. Apparently, you failed to appear in her court on a charge of leaving the scene. And then we have a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for violation of probation based on that charge. As to those charges, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on the VOP, of course, is no bond. I'm going to move that one to the 3rd of September. I will leave the bond on the fail to appear at the 2,000. That one's coming back on the 11th of September. The public defender will come see you about both your cases before you go to court, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Herbert Goodman. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
1/5/87.
Herbert, you're here on a charge of battery on a person 65 or older. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public vendor.
I'll point to PD. State what can you tell me?
Showing a Louisiana simple burglary, and I'm resisting an officer with no disposition, and then I have in-state history at state prison sentence in 01 for an adjudication for a robbery, and criminal mischief 94 adjudication as well as a battery, as well as an aggravated assault adjudication in 94. Adjudication in 1990 for a battery, adjudication withheld in 80 for a battery, and I'm showing a recent grand theft adjudication withheld in 2015.
Alright. Sir, I have an address for you on Broad Street in Brooksville. Is that where you were living?
Yes.
How long had you lived there?
Since I was 17 years old.
Alright. And Mr. Hopkins lived there too?
Yes.
Alright. You have a job these days?
No, I'm on disability.
Okay. I'll set your bond at $2,000. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Mr. Hopkins. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. Don't contact him through any social media. Don't have a third person contact him. Don't go where he lives. Don't go where he works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine having contact with him, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond will be revoked and you'll be held without bond until the charge is resolved. Just a second. Let me finish and then you can ask your question.
Okay.
In addition, I'm going to hold it till 4 p.m. So if he wants to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only would you get your bond revoked here, you'd get new charges for violating the injunction. As far as that address on Broad Street is concerned, as long as he stays there, you'll have to stay someplace else. You can go by one time to collect your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to stay. To do that, however, you must contact the sheriff's office. They'll meet you there with a deputy. You'll have a few minutes to grab your things and get going where you're going. You'll be back in court on September 11th. It's very important that you contact the public defender when you get out. Do you have questions, Herbert?
Yes. That is actually my address. My mother lives there too. I've been living with them.
I understand. But you can't stay there anymore, and it's certainly not as long as Stanley's there.
Okay.
All right? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Richard Geyer. Afternoon, Richard. What's your date of birth?
4/29/84.
Richard, I have 3 charges today. I have a burglary of a conveyance, a resisting without, and a battery on a law enforcement officer. Finding no probable cause on the burglary, probable cause for the resisting and the battery. So as to those 2 charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD, State.
Showing a actual constructive possession of a synthetic adjudication in 2004, and a possession of more than 1 valid driver's license adjudication in 04, as well as a resisting officer adjudication in 04, and a grand theft of motor vehicle adjudication in 04, and no other history.
And Richard, I have an address for you on Vaughn Street in Gibsonton, Florida. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
A couple years.
What brought you to Hernando County?
A buddy of mine, I guess.
What's that?
A buddy of mine.
Okay. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Concrete and lawn service.
Okay. So on the burglary, because I found no probable cause, that charge is a release on your own recognizance. On the resisting, that the bond is $1,000. On the battery on the law enforcement officers, the bond is $5,000. Your total is $6,000. Both those charges will be back on September 11th. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, all right?
All right.
Thank you. Frank Harris. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
1585.
Frank, The charge is battery on a detainee. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
PD.
All right. Frank, are you currently serving a sentence or waiting to go to court?
Sent to prison already.
So I'll appoint the public defender. The bond is, I'll leave it to $2,000. You'll be back on September 11th on this. PD will come see you before then, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Lewis. Afternoon, Mr. Lewis. What's your date of birth?
4/6/1964.
Mr. Lewis, you're hearing a warrant signed by Judge Angelitis. He found probable cause for 6 counts, 3 counts of criminal use of personal identification, and 3 counts of fraudulent use of a credit card. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
A leaving scene of crash involved damage to property adjudication in 06. Adjudication in 06 for Willis habitual offender. Petty theft adjudication in 06. Purchase synthetic adjudication in 2003. Adjudication in 2006 for a bird.
I don't think that's my record, Your Honor.
Hang on.
Adjudication in 2000 for Willis first offense. And no other history.
And, sir, I have an address for you on Woodlawn Terrace in Clearwater. Is that where you live?
That's a mailing address. That's my boss's address, yes, sir.
Okay. And you have a job these days?
A roofing, Your Honor.
I'm going to set your bond at $5,000 on each count. That's a total of $30,000 for the 6 counts. You'll be back in court on the 11th of September. If you get out, it's very important that you contact the PD, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roger Miller. Afternoon, Roger. Date of birth?
5/23/58.
Roger, the charge is retail theft. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want the public defender?
Yes, sir.
Very good. I'll appoint the public defender. Roger, obviously you have a couple of open cases. Job number 1 when you're out on bond is don't pick up new criminal charges. It appears to me that you have. So pursuant to Florida Statute 903.0471, I'm going to revoke your bond in case number 19 MM2176 and 19 CF1232. So now we're going to hold you without bond on those charges till they come back to court. The felony's coming back on October 7th. The misdemeanor is coming back on the 19th of September. I'll take this misdemeanor and move it to the 19th of September as well. So both your cases are coming back on the same day. Public defender will come see you at the jail before you go to court again, all right?
Excuse me, so you say I got to wait till October to go to court?
On the felony, yep, you'll be back in front of me on the 19th on your 2 misdemeanors.
Just a
There's
retail
no way I
theft.
can get it?
What?
There's no way I can get it pushed up earlier?
Now,
Because the only reason they did it like that because I stayed in Chapel, and it was costing me too much.
Roger, just so we're crystal clear, yesterday you were in front of me
sir.
on a petty theft. You left here, went to Walmart, and committed another petty theft. So I'm not
Yes,
very
sir.
sympathetic. And not only that, you were pretty rude to me yesterday. So sit down. You're coming back on the 19th.
Is the retail theft a felony? It's a felony?
No.
Okay.
No, it says it's misdemeanor.
Oh, okay.
John Munseeger. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
12/27/1993.
John, you're hearing a warrant that I signed. I found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
I'd like the public defender, please.
I'll point the PD. Bond on that warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'm not going to change that. I'll have you back in court on September 11th. PD will come see you before then.
Why can't you change that? I already have time served from another county.
Where were you in jail?
In Citrus County, and you spoke to my probation officer, Mr. Robert Story, on Wednesday.
Okay.
I did all my classes and everything. I had to go to my lab.
Well, I don't have any information on the classes because none of the conditions were in the computer.
Right.
But I did show that someone came and paid off the balance of his fine.
Okay.
But we don't have anything on the DUI school, the community service hours. We have none of that.
Well, hang on. At the jail, do you guys know how long he was in jail in Citrus County?
Yes, I was incarcerated since July 30th.
That's not enough time. That's 16 days. The offer is 120.
Oh, supposedly my PD or my probation officer spoke with you on Wednesday that I was supposed to either get a bond or an R&R, and I have my last evaluation.
Oh, he did say that.
Yes. And it's on the 23rd for my last class. I have an hour class, and I need all my certificates get sent to you guys.
Hang on. He didn't think you'd been arrested yet, so he didn't know where you
Yes.
were. All right. I will still appoint the PD. I'll still have you back. Actually, I'm going to move you to the 17th of September. And I'll give you an ROR, because that's what Mr. Story wanted. There you go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You bet. Thomas Parrott. Mr. Parrott, what's your date of birth?
1/8/60.
Thomas, you're here on a battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
A PD for today, and then next time a lawyer.
I'll appoint the public defender. State.
Exposure of sexual organs, adjudication withheld in 1999, and adjudication withheld in 1980 for a petty theft. There's also some out-of-state Illinois. There's between the 1970s and 80s, there's multiple Willises and burglary references.
All right, Thomas, I have an address for you on Marquee Road in Wekiwachi. Is that where you live?
Yes.
How long have you lived there?
About 10 years.
Do you have a job these days?
I'm self-employed.
What do you do?
Landscaping.
Okay. And Melinda lives at that address as well?
Yeah, it's my wife.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Melinda. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Also going to hold you till 4 p.m. So if she wants to serve you with an injunction, we know where to find you for that. Also, as far as that address goes, as long as she continues to live there, you'll have to stay somewhere else until we get the case resolved. You can go by one time to collect your things, but you've got to contact the sheriff's office first. I'll have you back in court on the 11th of September. Very important that you contact the public defender when you get out, all right?
Okay. My mother and brother should be there to pay my bond right now.
You don't come here to pay the bond. They come to the jail. So.
Okay.
All right? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. And then, Jill, I had paperwork for Omar Ramirez, but I think we took care of him on the regular docket, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He's the guy that.
Yeah, from Hillsborough. Okay. Matthew Day. You got a Matthew Day?
I don't have a PC, but I have a name.
Yes, sir.
All right. What are we doing with Matthew Day?
He was supposed to be set for a change of plea.
That's what I heard.
DOP.
Yes, it would be just time served.
Did you resolve a felony or something, Matthew?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What'd you get on your felony case?
Drug court.
All right. Hang on one second. How about a case number? Anybody got a case number?
I have two. 2019 MM2018, trespass on land after morning. It's an M1.
Right.
And then the other one is a trespass. The same charge M1, 2019 MM2019.
So 2018 and 2019, they're both trespass.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Matthew, how long you been in jail?
It's going on 64 days, I do believe.
All right, so I'm going to give you a 30 days time served on both of these so that you can get working on your drug court, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Raise your right. Well, you already did that. You understand by entering pleas in these cases, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, but you want to give up those rights so we can take care of these today?
Yes, sir.
Case number 2000 19 MM 2018. As to the charge of trespass, how do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest.
And in case number 19 MM 2019, as to the charge of trespass, how do you wish to plead?
No contest.
I'll accept those pleas. I'll find they're freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty on both counts, 30 days in the county jail on both counts, 30 days served on both counts, finding court costs of $553 on both counts, $100 from the PD on both counts. I won't order the cost of incarceration because I'll catch that in circuit court eventually. But that takes care of these. You're now free to do whatever it is you got to do next, okay?
Thank you.
Awesome. Good luck. Jay, got anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Awesome. Have a good weekend.
You too.